its trade policy, and I want to hold them to that commitment. Thank you, Mr. Chairman.
Thank you, Senator Warren. Let's see. Senator Bennett, Senator Scott, and Senator Thune is here. Senator Thune.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman, and thanks for holding what I think is a very timely hearing. And before I ask questions, I just want to underscore the vital importance of having a chief ag negotiator at USTR. Farmers, ranchers, and producers in South Dakota and across the country deserve the best representation possible on the global stage. The Biden administration has had more than a year to advance a chief ag negotiator. If the administration is serious about helping American agriculture and American workers, it needs to stop dragging its feet and make filling this position a top priority. In year 2 of the Biden administration, the Indo-Pacific trade strategy appears, unfortunately, hollow. Trade promotion authorities lapsed. There have been no meaningful market access initiatives in the region, and America's exporters are losing ground to competitors. Meanwhile, China recently joined the Regional Comprehensive Economic Partnership, the world's largest free trade bloc, and now aspires to join the trade deal that America helped craft, but ultimately withdrew from, the TPP, or what is now known as the CPTPP. Without coincidence, of course, China is also becoming more aggressive militarily in the East and South China Seas. Ms. Shaw, if this lack of meaningful U.S. trade action persists, what impact will it have on our nation's strategic and economic interests in the Indo-Pacific over the next 5 to 10 years?
Thank you for the question. The results would be catastrophic, particularly if China does join the other regional trade bloc, the CPTPP. Part of the challenge that we're facing is that while on the one hand we're spending trillions of dollars, well spent, investing in the United States, some of our critical sectors, if we're not doing anything on the offensive trade side, what we're doing here domestically is going to be inherently less competitive in third country markets, and specifically the Indo-Pacific, where we have strong national security interests and strong economic ones. We are ignoring half of the equation, and I think it is critical both for our national security interests as well as our economic ones that we are coming up with a comprehensive and offensive trade strategy. At the moment, we just don't seem to have one.
How would losing out on market access in the region impact American jobs here at home?
Well, if American goods are less competitive and 95% of the world's customers live outside our borders, at some point we're not going to have anyone to sell our goods to, and that's really the problem.
So the Indo-Pacific Economic Framework is arguably perhaps a step in the right direction, but the proposal clearly doesn't seriously counter China or offer a durable advancement of U.S. economic interest. In the IPEF, tangible benefits are off the table, market access and enforceable commitments aren't prioritized, and the process doesn't go to Congress for approval or review. A trade pillar on digital trade, forced labor, and trade facilitation is hardly a grand strategy. So, Ms. Shaw, let me ask again, I know you've covered some of this ground already, but how can the framework be most improved? And let me ask a follow-up so you can just, are there other trade initiatives in the region such as CPTPP that the U.S. should pursue instead of or in tandem with this one?
Yeah, no, thank you for the question. My strong view is that we should be pursuing a renegotiated and completely revamped CPTPP. Our CPTPP partners want us to be part of that agreement, and at the moment, we have leverage to make the necessary change that not only would it advantage our national security interests, but it would also advantage our economic interests. I think it's imperative that we put market access on the table, that we're tackling services, intellectual property, that we're moving forward and advancing the rules for state-owned enterprises. This is about the future of U.S. markets. And as I noted at the beginning of my comments, if all we're doing is investing here at home and not opening up export opportunities, we are missing the second half of that puzzle, and we are just going to be shooting ourselves in the foot long term as we lose out on third country market access opportunities.
Thank you. So using the Indo-Pacific Economic Framework to resolve non-tariff barriers has the potential to help U.S. farmers and ranchers, especially as it relates to export markets for foods with common names such as Parmesan and Asiago. It can also help blunt the EU from gaining protection for geographical indications through trade negotiations. Ms. Lorenzen, how could the administration best preserve the rights of American food and beverage producers and reduce foreign tariffs in the framework?
Thank you, Senator. In my view, it's critical that the IPEF include market access to create incentives to actually reach market opening deals and to achieve the types of things that you just mentioned, commitments that protect the ability of us to sell, cheeses with common names, or getting agricultural biotechnology regulations that work for our corn and soybean exports. You need real tangible results, you need incentives, and you need political will. And that really happens when there's an economic incentive in a negotiation to try and reach those deals.
All right, Mr. Chairman, my time's expired. Thank you.
Thank my friend from South Dakota. Very important issues, and look forward to working with him as we've done so often in the past on trade issues. I think Senator Daines is next.
All right, Mr. Chairman, thank you, and thanks to the panelists today. I think it's been stated a couple times, but it's worth reemphasizing. 95% of the world's consumers live outside the United States.